Welcome to another episode of LA Legacy Talks, where we discuss legacies in business and life. I am your host, Troy Lee, and I'm joined by
Gayle Young, your co-host. Glad to be here.
Yes. And today we have an amazing show with an amazing guest. I'm excited.
All the way, I guess, organically from Tulula.
Yes.
But from New Orleans, right?
The West Bank of New Orleans.
West Bank.
Oh, so you proud to claim the West Bank of New Orleans?
I am proud of West Bank.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Introduce yourself.
So I am Latasha Glass. I am the founder of Phoenix Prodigy Consulting Firm, where I help truckers and other business owners in my consulting.
Right. So how'd you get into that business?
Glad you asked. So my backstory is I have a healthcare degree. So I've been in healthcare for over 15 years. And just one day, life happened to me. 2020, the day after my birthday. So I had a stroke and I went into the hospital. Doctor said I'll never walk again. Doctor said I'll never work again. So, for a brief second there, I thought life was over. But then I remembered all I needed was just a little faith, the faith of a mustard seed. And I believed that I could walk. I believed that I would get out of this bed and this wheelchair and break all those chains. So after going through intensive care, inpatient, I was able to come home. I nurtured myself, did outpatient therapy with, of course, family support. But I just kept going. Got out of the wheelchair, got out of the walker, off the canes, all of that, right? But still, he wouldn't let me go back to work. With all of my skills that I've already accumulated, from as a child, I had the ability to help others grow their business, start their businesses. And so right there from my bed and my laptop, because I was on online school and I had a laptop, right from my bed, I started my consulting firm. I knew then not only that I want to help people, I wanted to help them leave a legacy. So I've studied, I researched, I connected, I made different type of connections with SBA, organizations like that, and I learned directly from the source how to grow a business. And I utilized those skills that I've gained from them to help others make those connections. And it was a passion for me. Even starting my firm, the name means so much to me, Phoenix Rising. And so I help others rise up as I did. And that's how I started, right from my bedroom and my laptop.
So your last name's Glass.
Glass.
You definitely don't break.
That's right.
You definitely don't break. That's an amazing story, amazing journey. Takes more than just physical support, physical help, nutrition and medicine to do that. That takes something in the inside of you.
Oh, definitely.
That's been planted for a long time. So what we're hearing isn't coming out of you, isn't anything new, right?
It's definitely not new.
So what are your roots that would help you to have that kind of faith and determination, start a business after recovering or during recovery?
Right. So as women, especially mothers, we just have that it's in us. But for me, it started as a child. My father, he was in heavy machinery, had real estate, hardworking man. My mother, stay-at-home mom. But when it was time for, to pay bills and see things, even starting her snack shack and her daycare, I was there. I mean, I saw step by step. I have to open the bank accounts, do the paperwork. So even in middle school, I was doing these things hands-on. I'm talking about even writing policies. Wow. I've done that. And so it was always in me, doing it with my parents and helping others in the community, that it stuck with me. So I always knew I wanted to do something in that. So when I moved to New Orleans, I kind of shifted into healthcare because I always loved helping people. And I thought that's where I was going to really get it at. But over time, that was just temporary. And I've done it for over 15 years. However, still something missing. So after falling sick, and stumbling into just doing a business, I don't want to keep saying stumble because even when I was in corporate America, I started a business for my daughter. She was 14 at the time. She wanted to actually go to work. She was too young. You had to be 16. And when she went into that first interview, we was so excited. I'm talking about recording her. He was like, oh, you had to get your first job, because she was very, very proud of herself, and she really worked so hard for it. And when the lady told us, she was like, come back when you're 16. I really love how you did that interview. I could tell you was raised, and, you would just speak so well. And my daughter, she was like, oh, Mom, I would have got the job, but I'm not old enough. She said, you know what, Mom? I wish I could start my own business so wouldn't nobody have to be able to tell me when I can work or how I can do this because of my age, gender, or anything. And I said, well, baby, you can.
And I bet she started that business.
Yes,
She started that
entrepreneurship
business
early.
and I helped her, and we researched. We started looking at YouTube and all of those different things, and she was so excited. It was still something missing, so I researched. And so when time came for me to start my business, I already did a lot of research on hers, to whereas I had that resources to help me grow mine. And then seeing that I can teach on a level of teaching a 14-year-old and also teaching she was 6 or 7 years old, how to start a business and run a business, go to pop-up shops and all. I wanted to help adults do the same thing for those that couldn't really comprehend on certain levels. Try to be that translator. Okay, this is what you can do, but break it down for them to where they can truly understand.
You took what your daughter, that seed she planted in you, and you transitioned from helping young people to helping adults.
Yes.
So you just mentioned a little bit about that transition. So can you explain more about what about your daughter, just seeing her soar as a young person, sparked you. There wasn't enough for you to say, hey, I'm going to do this for teens. I want to do this for adults. Like, what did you see in your lifetime that made you think you should help adults?
Because a lot of people, especially when you see the social media world, it goes so fast. Everything is so fast. Sometimes we just have to take it as, let's just slow down. And then a lot of kids, they're not taken serious to whereas, hey, I need just a little help like that. And adults, some adults, especially men, are afraid to ask for help, right? But then when they see someone, small, petite, just really doing it, and then listening to you saying, hey, I can help you. Doing that first consultation call, being able to break things down as I did with the children, I started getting people say, oh, that's a different way. Most people would say, I went and did course after course. I've went to this event. But when I call you, it's like, you get it. You give me that little extra that I just needed to fill the gap. And when I'd done that, not just 1, 2, 3 times, it's like, I can do this. I got this.
You're very nurturing.
Yes.
You're very nurturing, and just your tone and stuff, because you should record your voice and stuff, because I think that's a whole nother, audio books and things is in your purview as well. I think you should keep that, because
I'm not
you
always
have
as calm, though.
Yeah, you're just very calm, but you're very calming and stuff, because even when my daughter talked to you and stuff, because she too counseled my daughter, and it was just different, She's like, there's 2 people now I've met that talk like that, because it's a lot of information and people become overwhelmed.
Definitely.
Especially like you said with the social media, because we see all these people who are, say they're millionaires and all these things, and we buy into that. And it's not necessarily the case, because I myself have purchased courses and they're just sitting in my inbox. And my daughter did the same thing, and because we sold, we got sold on the dream. But as I told you earlier, one of the guys that I listened to on YouTube, he was saying, you need to be me 5 years ago, not the me today, because the me today has a team of people around me and has done the work. So I don't advise anyone to watch me and try to emulate. You're not going to be able to duplicate what I'm doing right now. And I'm like, boom, light bulb.
Because he grew.
Yeah.
But to me, that's what the courses do. The way they're advertised,
Right.
people just buy them and then they never really do anything with them. I don't even know if the courses are designed for you to buy them and then make all this money.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of talk and a lot of buzz around. I can be a millionaire if I buy the course. I can be a millionaire if I just do what Latasha did. But Latasha, your shirt says, Let us help you rise to new heights, soar.
To your true
So when
potential.
I read that, it says, A, you need us to help you to rise, go to some new heights so you can soar. Buying a book online isn't a rise. It doesn't take you to new heights, and you're not going to soar. Because going to new heights to me is more than me just making a purchase. It would be what?
Hand holding, compassion, understanding what one's goal is, not just their business goal, their financial goals, their family goals. All of that tie into each other. And that's what I do. I get in and I tie all those parts. I take your skills. We work together to help you overcome those challenges and rise. You have it in you. You just need someone that's seeing it from a different view, kind of pull it out of you. Just give you that extra key. Getting to know them, walking with them, holding their hands. Like I say, some people, they understand on certain levels. And I get it. You know, you're not going to always understand certain terminologies, right? You have to go and gain those. Especially a lot of us, we come from corporate America. So coming from corporate America, you're used to certain things already being laid out for you. You're already used to the systems. You know, when you go into work, you're going to clock in, you're going to do A, B, C, and D. When you start your business, most of the times you're so busy working in your business that you forget about working on your business. And that's where I kind of close the gap. You be excellent at doing your skill, your craft. I come in with my expertise and help you lay out that foundation, grab that strategy, put in a plan, put in systems, and grow. Tie in that resources, enabling you to get funding, being able to get government contracts, getting all of the certifications that are out there. So many certifications and resources that a lot of our firms don't have. Some of them here, certification. Ooh, I got to take a test.
Yeah, shut down.
It's shut
It's
down.
time to shut
Some
down.
people here, you can sell your product to the government. Oh, government, I don't want no. But that understanding and being able to say, hey, we can see it from this view, and that view. What works best for your situation? Because not all may work for your situation. But having that layout, having that in front of you, it's like, you know what? Let's choose door one. And even if door one doesn't work for you, it's okay. Because we have a system to shift and pivot onto the next.
So where do I start? Like if somebody's at the crossroads, so to speak, and they like I just need to change. I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to, be on a timestamp. I want to be able to live my life, have freedom, which I still say with entrepreneurs, they need to think about that because that's an ongoing thing. But if they call you and just say, okay, I ran across your ad or I saw you online, whatever, what's your criteria? What are you looking for? How do you know? Because everybody I know is not your client.
Right.
So how do you know I would be a good client for you?
Well, one, we're going to definitely have a sit down. We're going to definitely talk and see what are your goals and how can I help you with those goals. Two, I know a lot of people see social media and they're like, quit your job. That is never.
And
Don't quit your job.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Do not quit your job because running a business has its challenges, but
Yes,
also
it
it
does.
has its prices.
Yes.
Everything you do in these businesses, you have to pay for, right?
Every software,
Every software
a
system,
office,
Yes.
even getting
gas to
your
get there,
LLC,
getting your LLC.
you
Everything has
need,
a price.
and then being able to take different courses, to get strengths in your crafts. So I would say one, start a plan, have a plan, budget for sure, because there are going to be times to where you're not making income. So have a budget. Talk to a consultant to make sure that they're the right fit. Like you said, one may not work with you or understand what your craft is. So
But do you start
understand.
with the as a consultant? Are you looking? And I'm coming to you just raw. Is it where? Because I know you're a coaching consultant in trucking, right?
Yes.
But you also help with the skill set of working with government contracts. And so how do you know, because a lot of times we don't know what we want to do because as we've said, the social media and aspect has built this world up, and then you see all these people that are flossing with the cars and, you know, the nice clothes. Yeah,
That they
right.
rented, yes.
You know, they bought into the dream, but that's not necessarily the reality. So for a person who's maybe just struggling and like, I don't know what to do, I am afraid, like government contracts, I'm afraid of that. And you have that mindset shift. What is, you know, how do you get around that?
So knowing that you want to work in government contract, you definitely need to, one, go read. You have to read and educate yourself. There are so many free resources at SBA, online as well. However, so many people have jumped onto the train of, let's build some business credit and get the free money out here and use other people's money. So knowing which route they want to go, because if you want to go into government contract, the first step, you know, you have to register for your SAMs, right? You have to get your
what's
UEI.
SAMs for people who don't know?
So SAMs is Systems Awards Management. You have to go to SAMs.gov. You have to get your UEI number, unique entity ID, and your CAGE code. The CAGE code is what you get so that you can get paid from the government.
Okay.
To get your UEI ID when you register with SAM, a lot of people have already got virtual addresses because they heard all the people on social media get a virtual address. You cannot use a virtual address.
You must have a brick
You
and mortar.
must have a brick and mortar.
Wow.
And you can't have 6, 7 businesses at that brick and
At
mortar.
that brick and
All
mortar.
y'all can't be using that brick and mortar
wow.
address. For something.
Your lease have to say that's your, you know, you have that co-working
You
space
see,
or
and
what have you.
you only hear half of that story.
You only hear half of it on social media because those clips are like, let's do a quick reel
Yes,
to get you
yes.
to it. So if you've already been going down the road of getting these courses to build business credit, now you want to shift into the government contract world, you now have to go back and do the next step. So some people will say, well, use your home address. That's very acceptable on SAM. They will take your home address. But think about it. Most people that want to go get government contract don't have the savings or the business funding or maybe even the credit, right? So if you have your home address, when you go in to get that loan, you already may be a high-risk business. You think they're going to give you $50,000 to $100,000 from a home-based business? So what do? That's why I say set a budget, be able to invest in that space, know what are the steps, take notes, have your stuff organized, get binders, you know, have everything backed up on your computer. You've already done the research, go take the mentor, and they even have organizations like Apex that will hold your hand as well for free.
Absolutely.
Where's Apex?
For free.
No, where is Apex? Is that
Apex, they're throughout Louisiana and other states as well.
Okay.
They're formerly known as PTEC.
Right.
Okay.
So the name you hear associated with it a lot in Louisiana is Cindy Carrier.
Yes.
So Cindy's out about. So at 101 Women, she comes to the SBDC events, SBA events. She's present in right outside of Baton Rouge in, I think it's Denham, or a little bit below that, wherever the southeastern Hammond location is, that's outside in Livingston.
Yes.
And so they come to those events. So did you use the SBDC, SBA, any of those entities?
I've actually went to almost every event. They even know my face now. When I show up, they're like, okay, there she is. So networking, finding people there that may be doing what you're doing, or maybe a step behind you or a step above you to connect with, because you may not have the capability of doing some of those contracts on your own, but if you've already went and built those connections with other people, now you have a team of people that you can say, hey, we can get this contract together. So that's another thing. Networking is definitely a great thing to
the
do.
key thing? So we start. So the consultant, I call you. We sit down. You basically vet me and say where my weaknesses are. But your initial advice is to start reading, start learning that background, take some classes.
Attending events. They have these classes with
free
SBDC, SBA.
And they're free?
They're free.
Okay.
So you need an entry point for those classes. The one easy one is the SBDC. So I encourage people all the time to sign up for SBDC.
Yes.
But there's always this divide, right? So SBDC, you can sign up on that website, never see a counselor if you want to, and you have this access to every class that's taking place in the state of Louisiana and beyond.
Yes.
I've taken classes online at SBDC in Arkansas, Canada, Alaska.
I have too.
You know, Wyoming. It doesn't matter. It's just any class that I put a search in and comes up, because I have that number, I can get into those classes. So even if somebody doesn't want counseling, I think you agreeing that there's value in just using the small business development centers,
Yes.
which are located in Louisiana at every major university, and then in every other state at every major university. You would see value if you never went in for counseling, just taking the classes, right?
That's what I did. Before I even did counseling, I took a ton of classes. I took a ton of those online and in person.
Wow. So how did you pivot into trucking, though?
I pivoted into trucking because my partner, he does trucking as well. He's done trucking for about 12 years. As I mentioned earlier, my brother has been doing trucking and been very successful in owning his trucking company, and he's been doing that since 18. My father was in heavy machinery. So, you know, I'm not the girly girl, right? And so I've done hands-on stuff. So seeing how successful the trucking, you know, industry is, it's $1 trillion industry. I wanted a part of that, but I also wanted to find the challenges of how I can still help people in the trucking industry. And so after recovering, I was still doing my online classes to get my bachelor's. But I went into trucking. I went sign up to do trucking. I got my class A. I was the only female in the class. I was the only one that actually passed on the first try.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
Congratulations
Yes.
to you.
What are the challenges, though? You mentioned challenges. What are the most challenges you see getting into that field, or even people in general, maybe why they stay away from it?
Well, with trucking, you definitely have to have patience, right? The highways, finding loads, booking loads. A lot of people go to the load boards. And, you know, especially now, I know you hear it all in the news, like, you know, the loads aren't going for this and that. But helping them understand that, you know, they can go directly to the shippers or get government contracts in that area. I saw challenges for that. As I mentioned, they have the skills. They're doing their part, but they're working in their business, but not on their business. And so being over the road driving, I saw those challenges. You have 14 hours a day that you're running, right? You may be at a yard where you're unloading or getting loaded. And so you're just rolling. So when you stop, you want to speak to your family. You have to take a shower. You need to eat. It's so many things you want to do that you need to do. Are you going to sit in front of a computer and take a course? Or you're not going to do it. And I saw that because I ran my consulting firm from the back of a truck for a year.
Wow.
You know. And so being able to say, okay, you know what, it's time for me to step out the truck.
Okay.
Put somebody in the truck.
Yes. And so now that I'm not in a truck, I can say, hey, I know these challenges you're having when you want to spend time with your family or want to go on vacation or just parking. You want to still have your business operated. You still want to have that email checked. And if you are with Apex, they're going to send you a list of things to do. So what sets me aside, I don't just help and show them how to do it. If they don't have the time, I do it for them. I will go in their email, do all of your applications, organize it, upload it. All you have to do is review it and send it. I will even hold their hand to the point where I go to their meetings with them. I've sat in several meetings with them at SBA and with Apex. When I was helping my clients build business credit, some of them are afraid of what to say when they go to get a car in their business name or go to open up this business account. So I go with them. When I say hold their hand to help them grow, I am there every step of the way.
Yeah, you're a unicorn.
So just in the conversation before we start rolling, it was just obvious that the person that we're talking to and what we're hearing about your skill set, not in what you do and how you care about people and support them, didn't just happen overnight. So we know there's a backstory. So your last name's Glass, but you totally don't appear to be breakable like we think of glass. And what is it in your history that makes you so uniquely you?
My parents. I mean, being able to see my parents have a business as far as real estate. You know, my mom, she opened up her snack stand, things like that. Being in the mix, nowadays we would see, you don't hear many families coming from financial literate, families. We was taught about credit. We were taught about have insurance. We were taught about keep your driver's license cleared, right? All of my siblings, we understand that. It was taught to us. I kept that. I ran with it. And I connected with other people that were doing things that I knew I wanted to do. And it wasn't just them selling a lifestyle. It was them actually living it.
And along the way, that road could not have been smooth for you.
It definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't.
You've had some heartaches.
Losing my parents were one of the biggest heartaches. So with my father, he passed to cancer. I went through a divorce. I went through caring for my mother on her deathbed. And it was just devastating, very devastating. But I used that to strengthen me, because those storms really built me to who I am, and I grew from that. So having to live in New Orleans and drive to Minden, that's close to Shreveport, driving to Jackson for my father who was in the hospital with cancer, my mom whom had a stroke, that was very devastating, very devastating. However, it was building me to become the woman that I am today. And all of those steps and challenges truly have helped me risen.
Wow. So you were in corporate America while that was going on?
Yes.
So you were still working
Still
a 9 to
working.
5, so to speak, and then taking care of your
Working
parents?
9 to 5. Had just had my daughter in 2013, who was a fussy baby. So picking her up out of daycare, picking up my oldest from school, missing all of her events. She was so active in school at the time, so missing all of her events on Friday to drive from New Orleans to Shreveport, and then from Shreveport to Jackson, just to turn around and come back here on Monday morning and clock in with a smile. Right? Hiding and burying all that. So all of that just piled up and just really finally blossomed.
Wow.
So you soared
Yes.
in the midst of death and dying, caretaking, traveling.
This adversity. Woo.
That adversity that you had in your
Yes.
life, how do you use that adversity when you're helping other people and they're having problems?
Helping them to understand and connect with their history. Because we all have a history, right? Like with my backstory. Those that are going through grief, or those who are just going through their day-to-day, don't take a moment to think, where have I come from? What am I going through that can help me get to the next level? So when I'm talking to other entrepreneurs, I'm letting them know, okay, you got these skills from somewhere, right? Most of us don't understand. Even some of my clients that do housekeeping, we inherited that from our parents. We started doing housekeeping when we can pick up a broom, right? And so using those steps that we got from our history, I think it really helped me to connect with my clients, and then helping them to understand and turn on that light. Yes, you have to pivot, but where did you actually come from? Why did you start? What is your why? Why did you start this business, right? So helping them to understand that, for instance, my parents were part of my why to continue their legacy, right? So if they have a why that started with their parents or something that they may have grieved from, helping them connect with that and use it to soar. Build up all of that energy, build it up, and just soar.
Wow.
So you're talking about legacy. You're talking about a legacy that helped you to take pain and tragedy and turn them into just a business with wings, a person with wings, someone who gives life to others and support them. So our show is LA Legacy Talks, and your legacy is actually talking, right now. But everybody comes to a point. So we're all entrepreneurs here. Trey's an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, Troy's an entrepreneur, you are, your daughter who's sitting back there is an entrepreneur. And even in business for yourself and holding a business upright and managing it day to day, there are moments when you need support. And that support isn't always there. It's not as easy as picking up the phone and say, hey, I need an emotional coach right now. So there has to be something inside of us that helps us in that moment until we get to that professional help. What would be your suggestion for people who've had challenges like you? And I guess like all of us, I have a story of like almost not making it and being bedridden like you were, which is like giving me chills to hear you even talk about that. It just reminded me of just me. And then to see you, so I'm not seeing me in the mirror, I'm seeing you sitting there so vibrant. But how do you help people who've been where we were
All still there.
and still there, and to just right the ship in the midst of a health challenge, in the midst of a belief system that says that I can't do it. And so I just have imagined I have like 10 minutes with you, 5 minutes with you, and I need that nugget that can change my whole trajectory by changing the way I think about my circumstances. What would you say to me?
It's a mindset. Believe in you, right? So I believed that I could do it. I unlearned a lot of things and relearned a lot of things. I do affirmations. I do them daily, right? I pray. I go to God with everything before anything, before meeting the client, even before even connecting with the client. A lot of my clients will tell you, God sent you to me. You're my angel. I prayed for someone to help me with this business, and here you are. And so God told me to start the business, and he's bringing them to me. So everyone that I connect with, I know he sent them to me. And so I lead it with prayer. I run my business with prayer. And every night I'm thankful for it.
Do you journal too?
I do.
Okay. Is that daily or just?
Daily. I write in what I'm grateful for. I do 5. And I write down my affirmations. I have a prayer board and an affirmation board.
Wow. That's wonderful.
So what is your best affirmation for you?
I am a legacy.
I'm a legacy.
All right.
I love that. Did you say that for the show?
Yeah, and we
just
didn't.
say that.
Yeah, and we didn't pay her to say this. Wow.
So my greatest affirmation, the one that I never forget to say, the one that I journal all the time, the one that I carry in my heart, is extremely simple. And it simply says, everything, all things are working out for me. So if it's bad over here and a little good over here, we're from Louisiana, we call that gumbo. Gumbo's always good. I've never had bad gumbo.
Yep. Got a little extra.
It's always good. So you've been gumbo to our soul today.
Yes.
Just your very presence. I told you your shirt, telling us to soar and to rise up. You are uniquely you. Every single thing that you've accomplished in your life, even the controversy or the grief and the pain and the disappointments, you have actually taken them and you acted just like a Louisiana girl, although we know you are from the country and everything, in Mississippi, but you've made gumbo.
Was it Tallulah, Mississippi?
Tallulah, Louisiana.
That's what I was like, no.
Like, don't give Mississippi.
Yeah, I was like, no, I thought it was Louisiana. Okay.
All those things, right, have been a tasty feast for us. Yeah, like my gumbo and rice and my chicken and my sausage.
Okay,
and
don't
all
look
that.
hungry. Okay.
Has been a feast for us.
It really has been. And I just gotta ask, what's the starting salary for? Like, if you want, we gotta talk numbers. Like, what would we be looking at out the gate once we've done all the certifications and everything you have to do? What would someone starting off in trucking be looking at?
Well, it really depends on, which shipper, what you're hauling. So it's not just a starting salary. But all of my clients that come to me are already making 6 figures. They just need to know
Yes, indeed.
how to structure it, how to put it back into the business. You can still get into the trucking industry without a truck, without driving. There's so many avenues.
Really?
Right? Take a caterer, for instance. A lot of truckers, they go through high blood pressure, diabetes, the works, right? They're in the truck, they're living in their trucks, eating all these fast foods. So a caterer or someone who's doing meal prep can actually go to the trucker, prep their food for the week while they're out on the road, right? You're servicing those truckers.
That's a good idea.
Offering them your scented oils, soothing things that they can use. There are so many avenues. Washing their trucks. All the truckers, like they ride clean, right?
Yes.
Just being on the phone with them sometime.
I'm a little afraid of them, but yeah.
Right. Being on the phone with some of the truckers. Some of them need that support. They're away from home. Some of them don't even have family. They're just rolling. So having a service like that to be able to talk to them, right? There's so many different avenues to where you can help truckers. And it's $1 trillion industry. So get in there and get your percentage.
Wow. And you help an individual scale. So do you help with the scale of business? So if you may start at this point, but then you want to keep growing. How do you scale though? So if you're a driver, what's the next, what's the next level? Is it just you drive and then you retire? Is it where you continue to pick up more loads to increase? Like, how does that work?
To scale would be for them to get out of the truck, right?
Okay.
So you get more trucks, you hire drivers, put systems in place, and you let them run and make you money.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And so they can stay home.
They can stay home with their family, and their trucks are rolling,
Wow.
and they're making money with multiple trucks.
Wow.
So what do you think about this? So I own a holistic wellness practice. It's called Laughter in Your Belly Wellness. That's the name of it. So Proverbs 31 says, strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the future. I held on to that scripture when I was ill. So I knew that whatever I did next would be Laughter in Your Belly Wellness, because I wrote down in my journal that day that just like struck me, just stood out at me, that what I need to get out of this bed and soar is to get some laughter in my belly. A funny movie did not move me. You couldn't tell me a joke to move me. I was just stuck in despair. So what about a holistic wellness practice that helps truckers be able to call in if they had the least little thing and get assistance? Like, I'm going to tell you how to do this, and then I can overnight a package to you.
That would definitely be great.
So I'm your new client.
Game changer right there.
Game changer.
Wow.
So I'm your new client.
Business moves. I love
See?
it. I love it.
Let's
I love it.
rise,
And
right?
it's ongoing. I love
Definitely.
that. And in this space, do you see a lot of people of color doing this? Is there a growth in that space? Because I just don't
Yes.
see many of us doing that. Now I hear uptick of, of course on social media, but an uptick even in my own family. I have a lot of my nephews that have now chosen that. And I was kind of scratching my head like, how y'all jump?
Yes,
So that,
trucking.
most of it's like getting away, just want to get out of Louisiana, I know.
Oh, yes.
A lot of them get started because of that. But other than that, like how,
Trucking is
with that?
definitely for anyone, whether you have a high school diploma or not,
okay.
whether you have felons or not, right?
Okay.
Whether you are a single mom, because you can take your kids on the road. I have done that, right?
Wow.
So it's definitely room for everyone in trucking.
Is it the sticks though? Is it the
No,
sticks?
if you
Or does
can't
it have
drive a
automatic?
stick, guess what? Get you an automatic.
Oh, you can have automatic.
I didn't
I
even
didn't
know
know that.
came in
Me
automatic.
either. I'm
I
still
thought
with
all
the.
trucks were sticks.
I'm still with the Bergman of
Oh,
breaker,
no,
breaker,
no,
one,
no,
two,
no.
one, all that kind of stuff. I'm from that school, that mindset. So I'm just like, I don't.
Now in
see.
school, when I learned how to drive, remind you that my left side was the one that was affected. We had
Right.
sticks, but I was clutching that baby with that leg,
With
right?
the former
With the former
paralysis.
paralysis.
Wow, that's
Overcomer.
powerful. That's
Rose
powerful.
up, soared.
Yeah.
In the truck.
That is amazing. Just knowing you, I told you from the day one when we met, I felt like I was like a kid.
It was a connection.
It was. I told Gayle, I was like, yes, I think I know her. I'm like, we got to bring her on the show because she is a legacy builder. And this is what this is about. Because you also, you're exactly what our mission statement is. You're building a legacy in life and business. And then you're passing it on in a way where other people can also build legacies. And that's just something that's not always seen or given. There are people who kind of have things out there with like money grabs and things. And I'm not mad at somebody getting their little money, but when it's at the expense of someone else and they're not able to grow, that's where my issues lie. So I have to, before we conclude, I have to ask, what does legacy mean to you?
Family.
Family. I like
It's
that.
family.
Just begin all, end all.
Begin all, end all, family.
I love it. I love that. And where do we find you? You got to make sure you tell everybody where we find you. How do they connect?
refreshing.
Yes.
Yes, I love it.
So
refreshing.
my company is Phoenix Prodigy Consulting Firm. My website is phoenixprodigy.com or
Spell it just in case.
phoenixprodigyconsultingfirm.com.
Even though we're gonna put it on the thing, but just spell it for the ones who are gonna be listening.
Yes, so Phoenix is Phoenix. Prodigy is Prodigy consulting firm. All of my social medias, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and I'm LinkedIn. Even have a Pinterest, not as active, but they're all Phoenix Prodigy Consulting Firm.
I love
And my phone number is 504-209-7724. And they can visit me on the West Bank in New Orleans. I'm in Marrero at 4657 West Bank Expressway. I'm in Suite 117, and I'm inside of DBA Business Center.
Oh, I love that. Well, that's
Thank you
it.
for coming.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. This was
Yes,
really
welcome.
wonderful.
I'm so excited. I've been telling girls, we gotta get her on. She's coming. She's coming. She's coming. And for anyone who's interested in trucking or just wanting someone to get you moving in entrepreneurship, this is the woman to call. Gayle and I are now her clients, so she can't shake us if she wanted to. So that's
no
it.
shake and bake.
No shake and bake. That's it. That's it. It's
No,
done. So thank you for joining us for another LA Legacy Talks. I'm Troy Lee.
And I'm Gayle Young. We're glad you're here. You're at the right place to learn about legacy, learn about legacies,
Right.
and to share your own. So if you're interested in being on the show, please reach out to us at all of the information that's below. We'd love to have you and talk to you about being a guest on our show. The
Yes.
very best show about legacy is Legacy Talk.